All right, welcome back. We are wrapping up Chapter 10 in Accounting 2. We have done a sales journal where we dealt with our sales on account. We have also moved on to part of our cash receipt journal, and that cash receipt journal is anytime we are receiving cash. So that could be receiving cash on account, that could be receiving cash from current sales, so cash and credit card sales. We have one little topic to finish up on our cash receipt journal, and then we'll move on to our sales returns and allowances. If you go to page 284 in your textbook, you're going to notice that we did step 1, which is our 3 transactions. Step 2, at the end of the month, we go ahead and prove and rule that our debits equal our credits. Number 3, we're going to move on to our cash proof. In Accounting 1, it was really simple. You would look at the company checkbook, you compare the checkbook to the general ledger cash account and cash proof. Now we need to do a little bit more because we have money going in cash receipt journal, and that's being dealt with by one person. We then have money going out, which is dealt with by a different person. I believe Mr. Hoffman is our cash payment guy. Mr. Clark is our cash receipt guy. We have Ms. Lang doing our ledger. So we got 3 different people who have a different idea of what our checkbook actually has in it right now. So if you go to the bottom of page 284, I'm on the work together, 10-2 work together. It says step 3, prove cash. In October 1, the cash account balance in the general ledger was $11,764.96. That's going to be the cash on hand at the beginning of the month. Okay? That's my general ledger number. So I got $11,764.96. Now it talks about adding cash received. Well, that's going to be my cash receipt journal. Okay? Cash at the beginning of the month plus the cash that I received equals the total of cash there. In turn, I'm going to subtract the cash paid out during the month. Well, that's going to be my cash payment journal from Chapter 9. That's going to equal the cash that we think is going on. Now I'm going to go look at my checkbook. Okay, so I got proof cash, October 1. Cash account balance in the general ledger was $11,764.96. On October 31st, the cash credit, and again, cash credit is mean cash going out. That's from my cash payment journal. Well, I'm spending $8,779.53. I go on to say on October 31st, the balance of the next unused check stub was $18,088.95. So I have to find a way to get from my $11,000 at the beginning of the month plus my cash receipt journal. That's my number up there. Equals. Then minus my cash payment journal, which I'm going to have to go look up, and then equals. Okay? If I go look on my answer key real quick, I spent $15,103.52. $15,103.52. $15,103.52. That is my cash debit at the top of this page on Chapter 10, Section 2, work together. Okay? I'm going to take my 11,000 number plus my 15,000 number, and I'm going to come up with about a 26,000 number. We'll look at that exact answer in a second. I then spent about 8,000 of that 26,000, and I should have an 18,000 number. And again, this 18,000 number has got to equal this 18,000 number to make our math work out. So let's take a look from the actual answer key, a little cleaner handwriting than what I got going on. General ledger number there. Cash receipt journal from above. $15,103.52. General ledger number, cash receipt journal. Those two numbers added up equal $26,868.48. Subtract from my cash payment journal, and it equals $1,808,895. When the $1,808,895 equals what my checkbook says, now I'm feeling good about proving my cash. If I notice over on the left-hand side of the sheet, here is proving my debits and credits. My sales discount plus my cash, those debits are $15,000. Compared it to my account receivables, my sales credit, my sales tax payable. Again, debits are equaling credits. So we're making sure that debits equal credits. We're making sure that we are proving cash. Both of these are necessary things, especially when we have multiple sets of people doing jobs now. Right? It's not just all one person doing a job. We got multiple sets of people doing jobs. So let's jump forward. If you would, please and thank you. I need you on page 285 in the textbook. We're taking a look at what happens when we sell something to someone and they, for whatever reason, don't want it. We sold them the wrong stuff. It was somehow damaged in transit. Wrong color, wrong style, or they just changed their mind. Okay? Any of those things happen. When we talked about chapter 9 being our purchase journal, okay, that meant it was a debit to purchases and a credit to accounts payable. When we sent stuff back, it was a debit memo because it was a debit to accounts payable, meaning a return, right, or the opposite. Well, now we're going to deal with what's called a credit memo. We have an account receivable that has a normal debit balance. As that normal debit balance goes up, it says that they owe us more money. When they pay us off, that is a credit. Well, what happens when we sell them stuff? They don't want it and they send it back to us. The account receivables got to go back down or have a credit to account receivable. Hence why we're calling it a credit memorandum. We'll show you down the road a new chart of accounts as we're going to start adding. We're going to add sales discount to our chart of accounts. Sales has a credit balance, so sales discount will have a debit balance. We'll also have a sales return and allowance, which will also have a debit balance because it's a contra account. It is the opposite of sales. So I'm on page 285. I got a sales return. I have a sales allowance. Those are all going to show up in something called a credit memo when people send back stuff they don't want. As we look, page 286, we have a transaction that's going to make us go to our general journal. This doesn't fit in a cash receipt journal, cash payment journal. This isn't going to fit in a sales journal, because again, the sales journal has got sales account receivable and sales tax payable. I guess in theory, if you made your own sales journal, you could have a sales return column to keep track of this, but right now we just use our plain old general journal. This would be Mr. Reisenen's journal. So we got 3 accounts that are getting changed. We have the sales return and allowance. We have also sales tax payable. Now, if you were charged a certain amount of sales tax on an order, but you didn't buy or keep all of the order, you sent some of the order back, you probably wouldn't want to pay for the whole order. So in turn, you're going to send a piece of that order back, so some of that sales tax has to come back as well. And in turn, your account receivable needs to change, meaning it's got to go down. It goes down on the credit side. So I'm on page 286, my transaction, March 11th. March 11th, 2020. Granted credit to a company called Village Crafts for merchandise return for $58, and there was sales tax, total $62.01. So now the account receivable to Village Craft is the total, right? It's going to be the $58.50. And it's going to be the sales tax that gets sent back in $3.51. So we're talking a $62.01 as a credit to accounts receivable. Our debit account is going to be this contra account, sales, returns, and allowance. It's an opposite of sales, so that's why it's a debit. $58.50, and we're going to need to reduce sales tax payable, which is going to be $3.51. Okay. Now this general journal is going to get busy with all different kinds of bought supplies on account. It's going to get purchase return and allowance. It's going to get this sales return and allowance. Maybe some other transactions that we're going to deal with. So let's jump forward to page 287 and let's do 10.3, work together as a group. So it says the journal is used for a company called Klein Interiors. Instructor will guide you through the following, blah, blah, blah. We're on page 6 of our general journal. So on June 3rd, granted credit to a company called Wilbank and Associates for merchandise return, $457, sales tax $36.56, and a total of $493.56. So June 3, 2019. Sales return and allowance is going to be my debit. Sales tax payable is going to be my debit. Again, opposite because somebody is sending something back to us. And we got an account receivable to a company called Wilbanks and Associates. And that's going to be the credit. So we're going with $457. Amount of the sale that's coming back, but there's also $36 and $56 in tax attributed to that $457. So their total account receivable is going to be reduced by $493.56. Next transaction is going to be granted credit to a company called Westfall High School for damaged merchandise, $67. They were never charged sales tax, so they don't get an adjustment to sales tax. So again, we are on the 6th. Sales returns and allowance. And account receivable, Westfall High School. Dollar amount is going to be $67. Go ahead and take a minute, flip this one over, and let's take a look at the on your own. One of them is going to be granted credit to a Carver High School, and next one is going to be granted credit to a Karen's Fine Gifts business. Hit pause on the video while you crunch that number out, and let's see what you got going on. All right, welcome back. Here is our on your own answer. July 3rd, sales return and allowance for $46. Credit memorandum number 86 is my source document. Account receivable and company name is going to be my credit because it is reducing that account receivable account. Second one, July 4, sales return. The sales tax is attributable on this one, and account receivable as a credit reducing that. Now that we have done each of our ideas so far, go ahead and jump forward in your textbook to page 289 and start working on your application problems. 10.1 application is going to be that sales journal. 10.2 application is going to be that cash receipt journal. 10.3 is going to be your sales return and allowance journal. Your mastery problem is going to crunch out all three of those together. Again, just like we did on our practice test, look at the very last source document to help clue you in on where you're going. Then we're eventually going to do 10.5 challenge problem. Okay, so time to go ahead and start doing some homework. Good luck.